Level 1, $20,000. You make $10 an hour. You know this not because you calculated it, but because the number follows you everywhere. Into the grocery store, into the gas station, into every conversation you avoid about what you do for a living. After taxes, you take home roughly $1,400 a month. Rent is $750 for a room. Not an apartment, a room. In someone else's house with someone else's rules and someone else's noise through the wall at 2 a.m. You eat what costs less, rice, ramen, whatever's on the bottom shelf. You stop pretending you choose these things. You don't choose. The number chooses for you. $10 an hour doesn't give you preferences. It gives you math. Your car has 190,000 miles on it. The check engine light has been on so long, it feels like a feature. You put $20 of gas in at a time because filling the tank means skipping something else. Everything at this level is a trade. Gas or groceries? Groceries or phone bill? Phone bill or the one pair of shoes falling apart since March? You're at the register buying toothpaste and a loaf of bread. The card declines, not because you're broke, because the $11.40 hasn't cleared yet from the transfer you made this morning. You step aside, you open the app, you refresh it twice. The cashier waits, the person behind you waits. You feel something shrink inside you that has nothing to do with money. Your friends from high school split into two directions. Some went to college, some got better jobs. You see their lives on your phone while sitting in a parking lot eating a $5 meal between shifts. You don't hate them. You stop comparing because comparing at $20,000 feels like staring at the sun. It doesn't help, it just burns. You Google jobs at midnight, every listing that pays, more wants, experience you can't get without already being there. The trap isn't laziness. It's the loop. Work, pay, survive, repeat, and the thing that keeps you up isn't tonight. It's the fear that this loop is permanent, that this is just how it stays. The first rule, at $20,000 you don't manage money. Money manages you. Level 2, $35,000. The first salary that feels like stability, not good money, real money. The kind with benefits and direct deposit and a title on your email signature that makes you feel like you belong somewhere. You move into your own apartment, not a room, a full apartment, one bedroom, small kitchen, a door that locks behind you, and the silence on the other side belongs entirely to you. That silence feels like the most expensive thing you've ever owned. You can eat without calculating first. You fill your gas tank all the way, and the feeling of watching it hit full is something people at higher levels will never understand. You buy new shoes, not expensive, just new, and you wear them to work the next day with a posture that's slightly different than the day before. But $35,000 in a city that charges $1,200 for a one-bedroom is still tight. You just don't feel the tightness every second anymore. It moved from your throat to your shoulders, still there, just quieter. The panic of $20,000 is gone, replaced by something duller, a low awareness that one bad month could pull you back. You start noticing things you couldn't see at $20,000. People around you earning more, not much more, just enough that their weekends look different, their apartments look different, their stress looks different. You're not jealous, you're just aware now. You check your account on Fridays. Not panic, habit. The number is never exciting, but it's never terrifying either. That middle ground between exciting and terrifying is where $35,000 lives, and for the first time, you start thinking about what comes next. The second rule, $35,000, is the first time you stop surviving and start looking forward, and looking forward changes everything. Level 3, $50,000. You're average now, not the version of average anyone dreams about, the version that means you landed where most people do. You're doing everything right. Degree, job, direct deposit every 2 weeks, and somehow right feels ordinary. You have a one-bedroom in a decent neighborhood, a car with under 100,000 miles, a credit card you pay off most months, your fridge is full, your bills are paid, you can go to dinner without checking your account first. That used to feel impossible. Now, it feels normal. And normal is the problem. You run the numbers one night. $50,000 for the next 30 years. Same raises, same trajectory. The number at the end is survivable, not exciting, survivable. You stare at that projection and feel something you didn't expect. Not fear, disappointment. The kind that doesn't crash into you. It seeps in slowly like cold through a window you can't find. Your coworker makes $80,000. Same hours, different department. You found out by accident, and now you can't unfind it. The gap between $50,000 and $80,000 isn't just $30,000. It's a different apartment, a different car, a different kind of freedom. You do the same work. The paycheck says otherwise. You start thinking about more, not greed, awareness, the same awareness that showed up at $35,000, but sharper now. Because at $50,000, you can see both directions clearly. You see $20,000 behind you, and you're grateful. You see $100,000 ahead of you, and you're hungry. And sitting in the middle of that view is the most uncomfortable place on the entire scale. The third rule, $50,000 is the mirror. You see exactly where you are and exactly where you're not. Level 4, $75,000. Something shifts. Not in your bank account, in your mornings. You wake up and money isn't the first thought. It's there, still present, but it's not leading anymore. For the first time in your life, you think about what you want before you think about what you can afford. You moved into a better apartment, not luxury, just space. A second bedroom you turned into an office. A kitchen where you actually cook. A neighborhood where you sleep through the night. The upgrade wasn't dramatic, but the feeling of walking into something you chose instead of something you settled for changes how you carry every single day. You book a flight without waiting for a sale. You buy groceries without checking the total. Small shifts that feel enormous to someone who remembers $20,000. You're not rich, but the math works now. Comfortably, quietly, without the constant negotiation that defined every level below this one. People start calling you successful. You don't correct them, but the word feels borrowed, like a jacket that fits but isn't yours. Because you know what $100,000 looks like from here. And $75,000 still feels like the waiting room. The gap between you and your old friends is showing now. Not in arguments, in silences, in the things you stop mentioning, because talking about your new apartment to someone still renting a room feels like a language they didn't ask to hear. You don't pull away. The altitude does it for you. The fourth rule, $75,000 is where money gets quiet. And in that quiet, you finally hear yourself. Level 5, $100,000, 6 figures, the number everyone chases. You thought crossing it would feel like arriving somewhere. It doesn't. It feels like walking through a door into a room bigger than you expected, with more doors you didn't know existed. Taxes take more than you imagined. $100,000 is really $72,000 after the government takes its cut. In New York or San Francisco, $100,000 is survival money dressed in a nice title. You're rich to your family. You're average to your coworker. You're broke compared to your neighbor. The number means everything and nothing depending on who's looking. You stop telling people what you make, not humility, protection. At $100,000, everyone has an opinion about your money. Family members call more often. Friends pitch ideas. Strangers on the internet tell you you're not really wealthy. Everyone suddenly knows what you should do with a number they've never held. The lifestyle didn't change the way you thought. Better apartment, better food, better clothes. But the jump from $75,000 to $100,000 doesn't feel like the jump from $20,000 to $35,000. That first jump changed your life. This one changed your options, and options without clarity is just a more comfortable version of being lost. You sit with the number you chased for years and realize chasing was the point. Having it feels nothing like wanting it. The hunger was the engine. Now the engine is quiet, and you're not sure what's supposed to drive you next. The fifth rule, 6 figures is a door, not a destination. And what's on the other side is a question, not an answer. Level 6, $150,000. Life changes visibly, not dramatically, visibly. The apartment is nicer, the car is newer, the vacations are real, not just long weekends driving somewhere close. But the biggest change isn't material, it's social. You stop relating to conversations about money problems, not because you don't care, because you forgot what it feels like. That forgetting creates distance you don't notice until someone reminds you. A friend asks to borrow money. The amount is small to you, it's everything to them. You say yes without thinking. They say thank you in a way that carries weight you weren't expecting. That gap isn't financial, it's experiential. You live in different worlds now. Same city, same streets, different math. You start measuring life differently. Not in paychecks, in freedom. Can you leave this job without panic? Can you take a month off? Can you say no to things that drain you without consequences? The answer is almost. Not yet, but almost. The sixth rule, $150,000, is where money stops being the conversation and starts being the silence between conversations nobody has anymore. Level 7, $250,000. Different world, different problems, different language. You talk about tax optimization, not tax refunds. Asset allocation, not savings accounts. Your accountant costs more than your first car. The people around you earn similar numbers. Not by design, by gravity, conversation shifted without anyone announcing it. Dinners where nobody checks the bill, weekends where nobody suggests the cheap option. Not because anyone is showing off, because cost stopped being a variable in the equation. You stopped explaining your life to people who don't live at this altitude. Not arrogance, accuracy. The language doesn't translate. When you say, my tax situation is complicated to someone at $35,000, their eyes change. Not judgment, distance. The same distance you felt looking up from $20,000. Now someone is looking up at you with that same expression, and you understand both sides, which makes it lonelier, not less. The seventh rule, the higher the salary, the smaller the circle. And the smaller the circle, the quieter the room. Level 8, $500,000. Money becomes invisible. You don't check prices, you don't check your balance. Decisions aren't about cost anymore. They're about time. Everything is measured in time now. What costs you hours, what saves you hours, what earns while you sleep. Your problems have different names. Estate planning, trust structures, capital gains, words that didn't exist in your vocabulary at the money required it. The isolation is real. Not loneliness, something else. The person you were at $20,000 eating ramen between shifts wouldn't recognize you. And you wouldn't know how to explain this life to them without sounding like someone you once resented. The eighth rule, $500,000 doesn't buy happiness. It buys distance from struggle, from people, from the version of yourself who understood what $10 an hour actually felt like. Level 9, $1 million. $1 million a year. You don't say it out loud. Nobody at this level does. The number exists in tax documents and wire transfers and conversations with attorneys who charge by the 6-minute increment. You walk into rooms where decisions are made, not because of fame, because your judgment and your capital are useful to the people already sitting there. That's a different kind of invitation. Not social, structural. The distance from $20,000 is permanent now. Not just financial, psychological, emotional. You remember the parking lot, the $5 meal, the declined card? You remember it the way you remember a country you lived in as a child. Familiar, but foreign. Yours, but not anymore. The 9th rule, at $1 million, money stops measuring your worth. It starts measuring your reach. And reach changes everything it touches, including you. Somewhere right now, someone is making $10 an hour. They're sitting in a parking lot between shifts eating something cheap and fast. Their phone screen is cracked. Their gas tank is half empty. They're Googling jobs at midnight. They think this is about the number. It's not. It's about what the number does to the distance between who you are and who you become. The paycheck hits every 2 weeks. It takes whoever shows up.